Hi, my name's Doug from Quad H2O and welcome to the HEXH2O Pro user guide video tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the aircraft, what to expect when you receive it, how to put it together and how to get ready for that first flight. Let's get started. So let's take a look at what you'll receive with your aircraft. Now, depending on your order configuration, you'll either receive it in a Pelican case or packed in a traditional cardboard shipping box. First and foremost, you're going to receive the HEXH2O Pro itself, the Lightbridge 2 controller unit, the X3 camera, the HEXH2O Pro dome, which comes in a velvet protective carry case, a full set of DJI props, we then have a range of smaller components. This includes the silicone grease for the dome and rear hatch seal, a complementary battery tester for the LiPo batteries, a complementary cleaning cloth for the dome, Velcro for the flight batteries, complementary toolkit, the camera shroud, the quick release legs, a mini level for the motors, and the USB cable to connect the HEXH2O to your computer. You'll also receive various manuals and associated cables for all of the components. Depending on your chosen configuration, you may have ordered some of our optional add-ons with your purchase. These may include the SkyRC D200 dual balance charger. Now, this is a 20 amp charger, so that gives you the ability to charge both flight batteries at the same time. It's a powerful charger and you can run it through AC or DC. We also have the iPad mini. We offer that in two versions. It's version 2 and version 4, both of which are 32 GB. A micro SD card for your camera, Gensace Tattoo flight batteries. These are 8,000 milliamp each and you'll require 2 per flight. Now, there are shipping restrictions with these, so we can't supply them everywhere, but if you do order them with us, they'll come separately. They won't be shipped with the machine itself. And finally, we have the Polar Pro filter pack for the X3 camera. And this is a 2-pack with 6 different filters for all types of flying conditions. Before we get started with the assembly, I want to give you a quick walk around the machine itself and show you each individual part. So, we have the front of the HEXH2O. This is where the dome is fitted and where the camera is seated. On the top, we have the carbon fibre top assembly, going down to the carbon fibre arms and the DJI E800 motors. These have 2 fixed arms in the centre and 2 folding arms at the front and back. I'll go through how to open and close those properly in the assembly. So down the side, we have buoyancy aids. Now, these act mainly as stability devices when the machine's in the water. So if it's in choppy water, it's very buoyant already. It's a sealed housing, so there's no problem with buoyancy as such. It's more to keep the machine balanced whilst it's in the water. These are removable and can be replaced if they're damaged. So again, at the side, we have here 3 external heat sinks on each side, and these are mounted and bonded to the speed controllers on the inside. They're sealed in place from the inside with marine grade sealant, so it all keeps watertight, and these help dissipate the heat from the speed controllers. Moving round to the side at the rear, we have a small clear grommet, and this is for the LED status of the flight controller. This will show you the status of the flight controller whilst it's in the air, and also you will be able to see that on the screen on the controller mount. This again is sealed from the inside with marine grade sealant. Then at the rear, we have the rear compartment hatch. This is held into place with 6 quarter turn quick release clips. It's sealed with a neoprene rubber seal so it keeps watertight, and it gives you a quick access area to be able to change the batteries. And on the top we have the Quad H2O breather system, which allows air in and out of the machine so that the aircraft can maintain altitude. It also is designed in such a way that it doesn't allow water into the machine. Also on top we have the N3 flight controller GPS housing. Again, it's a watertight housing. It has a clear grommet in the top for the GPS status light. Looking inside the front of the machine, firstly you'll see we have the X3 camera mount. Moving further back we have the electronics tray, and this houses the flight controller unit and the Lightbridge 2 air unit, which is mounted on the underside. We also have a fan mounted onto the electronics tray, which helps the air circulation within the machine. You also have the antennas on either side, and you'll be able to just about make out the speed controllers that are mounted on either side as well. Let's move round to the rear of the machine. At the rear of the machine we have the power lead with a dual XT60 connector for both of the flight batteries. So there are 4 folding arms on the machine. The 2 in the centre are fixed into place, and the 2 at the front can be folded out and the 2 at the rear can be folded out. The easiest way to do this is by holding the fixed arm in the centre and then opening the rear out and clicking it into place. You can do the same for the front one, holding the fixed arm in the centre and then the front one just click into place. It'll firmly clip into place. There's some plastic clips here that hold the arm in place so it's nice and secure. And that's it. They're the arms in the open position. Next, let's have a look at the legs. So remove the 4 quick release legs from their bag. Now to fit these is a very simple process. Just take the clip and push into the slot at the side and you'll feel them click into place. And there you go, the 4 legs are now installed. So the next step is to get the X3 camera ready to be installed into the HEXH2O Pro. The camera comes in this protective casing. Let's get it open. So the first thing we have is an ND filter for the camera lens, and it also has a clear filter which it comes installed with. So this is the camera and gimbal system complete, and as I said, they have the clear lens on there as well. Now for most of the shots, if you're over water, I'd recommend using the ND filter, or if you've ordered the Pro set from us, then there's various different filters that are going to be perfect for that shot over the water. But for this demonstration we're just going to use the clear filter that's on there. So let's move that out of the way. There's a couple of things. I'll just go through the camera and gimbal with you. So first you have a protective cap on here. This protects the circuit board that clips onto the machine itself. Then obviously the gimbal motors and the camera itself. We have a cooling fan at the rear and cooling fins at the front. The lens, which can be removed, simply unscrewed. And also at the side we have the micro SD slot. So we need to do 2 things before it's ready to be installed. We need to install the micro SD card, and this simply pushes into place like so. And the next thing, we want to fit the anti-reflection shroud over the front of the camera, and what that does is it stops any unwanted reflections from the white casing of the camera onto the front of the dome. So I'll just show you how to do that. First we want to unscrew the lens. Take the shroud from its package bag. And you'll notice on the shroud we have a cutout at the side. And this aligns with the motor. And the whole thing just sits over the thread like so. and then the lens screws back on top. And holds the shroud in place. And that's the camera now ready to be fitted to the HEXH2O Pro. So the gimbal mounts onto the gimbal pad here, but first we need to remove the protective cover. So just underneath the protective cover we have a twist mechanism, and you'll see a white line on the front in the locked position, and we're just going to twist that round to the unlocked position and remove the cover. And you'll notice we have a series of gold pins, and these match up with the gold pins on the gimbal. There are also a white line at the front of the gimbal here, and this is going to line up with the white line on the locking mechanism. So we just sit that in place, and making sure it's flat, we turn the lock back round to the lock position, and then the gimbal is fitted into the machine. The rear hatch is held into place with 6 quick release quarter turn clips. To remove it, take each clip and turn them quarter turn anti-clockwise. And you can simply remove the rear hatch, and this gives you nice and easy access to the battery compartment where you can insert and remove the batteries. Now the important thing with these clips is that when you undo them, you do a quarter turn anti-clockwise, and when you do them up, you do a quarter turn clockwise. What you want to avoid doing is this, so turning them all the way around to the right or all the way around to the left, because what that will do is it'll adjust the pressure against the neoprene seal, and if you undo them too much, you might not have enough pressure on the neoprene seal, and then that could let water in. So I'm going to go through how to adjust these clips to make sure you have the right amount of pressure on the rear hatch. So from your order, you'll have a complimentary toolkit that consists of 2 Allen keys. We're going to take the larger of the 2, which is the 3mm Allen key, and we're going to refit the rear hatch. So again, we're going to quarter turn each clip clockwise into place. Now if any of them are very loose or too easy to move over, it's going to be very clear that they need to be adjusted. To do that, simply hold the clip with your fingers in the closed position, insert the Allen key and just quarter turn clockwise, and do quarter turn at a time. Try to avoid over tightening them, but what you want is a nice amount of pressure to be able to move the clip over the back door. What you don't want to do is to have it either too easy to move over or so hard that you're having to push the door in. It should just be a nice firm seal over the rear hatch. We'll go over this in more detail when we do the water test a bit later on. The flight batteries are held into place using 2 large Velcro straps on the floor of the HEXH2O Pro. The reason why we use Velcro is it allows you to adjust the batteries forward or back depending on your payload, so you can get a good balance of the machine, which will improve flight characteristics. So first of all, you'll have your 2 flight batteries. Take the supplied Velcro patches and fit them to the flat side of the battery underneath. When you're ready, the batteries just go into the rear compartment on either side of the machine and attach to the Velcro. Once they're fitted firmly in place, you can check the balance of the machine, and to do this, simply lift the 2 fixed arms and adjust the machine and the batteries as necessary so that it's nice and level before flight. The 13-inch quick release propellers are designed in such a way that they can't be fitted on the incorrect motor. So the way we know how to fit them is you'll notice that we have 2 different types of propellers. We have one with the white DJI logo and one with the black DJI logo. And on the top of the motors, we have a motor with a white dot and one without a white dot. So we put the corresponding propeller onto the corresponding motor. So white logo goes with white dot. And to fit them, simply push them down onto the motor, push and twist, and that locks it into place. I'll just show you again on this motor. So there has 4 spaces on the top here that line up with the 4 clips on the motor. Sits over it, push down and twist, and that locks it into place. And again, to remove them, simply push down, twist, and they come off. And as I say, they're designed in such a way so you can't put them on the wrong motor. So if I try and put the wrong one on there, it won't allow me to lock it in place. So it's nice and simple and very obvious if you get it wrong. So like I say, just match the white logo of the propeller with the white dot on the motor, and you'll also notice once all of them are fitted, white logo, black logo, white logo, black logo, white logo, black logo. And there's also a rotation on the propeller which shows you the locked and unlocked position. So that's the propellers fitted. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to ensure the motors are level. So for that, we supply a small spirit level, and ensuring the HEXH2O Pro is on a flat and level surface, simply place the spirit level on top of the propeller, ensuring it is perpendicular to the motor arm, and we just want to make sure it's level. So we'll start on the fixed ones. So again, place the spirit level perpendicular to the arm and make sure it's level. If it's not level, we can simply loosen up the 4 bolts and then adjust the arm as needed and do them back up again. And then for the folding arms, again, just place the spirit level on there. Now there's a small amount of adjustment that can be made with the arms if needed. It will be very, very small if it is needed at all. And to do that, you can simply take the motor mount in your hand and just apply a small amount of pressure left or right as required, and then we've got it nice and level. So repeat that process round, and this is something you'll want to do periodically before flight. Just put your spirit level on there and make sure none of them are out of line. Again, if we have them all nice and level, it's going to make for a better flight. So next up is the Lightbridge 2 controller. Now this has a holder at the front which is used to mount the tablet or mobile device, and we also have the antennas at the rear. Now when you're using the controller, ensure that the antennas are pointing up like so. And all I'm going to do is just quickly show you how to put your tablet or smartphone device onto the controller. So if you're using a smartphone, you'll need to open up 2 tabs at the side here, and then using the button on the side to extend, and then place the smartphone horizontally on the controller like this. And if we're using a tablet, which in this instance we are, the iPad mini, again, just using the button at the side to open it up, and then close it down in place and do that firmly. There are also 2 screws at the side. We have one here and one here, and that will control how firm this angle is once you've got it in a position that you're happy with. And then just using the standard Apple lead, we have one end that goes into the device as normal, and then the second goes into the USB port at the back of the controller. And if you're using a standard Apple lead, then most users will just simply wrap the cable around here and then plug it into the device at the back. Always get USB the wrong way around, like so, and you're good to go. We do also offer shorter cables. They're coiled cables, so they're about 30 centimeters long, keeps it nice and neat. But you don't need one of those. You can just use a standard cable, but if you want it nice and neat, then you can purchase a coiled one from ourselves or from online. And that's as simple as that. That's all you need to do when you want to fly. And just to put it away, simply unplug the lead. Again, button at the side to release the top mount. Remove your tablet or smartphone device. Close her up, fold it down, and then you're good to pack away again. Okay, so next up, I'm going to show you how to fit the dome. We supply that in a velvet carrying case. Now this is to help protect the dome. It also is good for cleaning the dome, although we do supply a complimentary cleaning cloth as well. So it's a 3mm Perspex dome, and it's held into place on the front of the machine with 8 retaining quick release clips. So let me show you how to put it on. Okay, so when you're going to fly over water, it's important to use the supplied silicone grease on both the rear hatch neoprene seal and the neoprene seal on the dome. So to do that, just open it up, place a small amount on the tip of your finger and wipe over the neoprene seal both at the front and also on the rear hatch. Now don't apply too much to the neoprene seal on the dome. You don't want to have so much on there that it starts to drip down the front of the dome. So really it's just a small amount on the tip of your finger. So to fit the dome, place it over the neoprene seal. Try and ensure that it's straight and evenly seated. And then just working on opposite corners, place each clip into the closed position. Like so. The dome's now seated into place. Now again, same as on the rear hatch, you adjust the quarter turn clips in exactly the same way. If they're too loose or too tight that you can't get them over the lip of the dome, just hold the clip in its closed position and using the supplied Allen key either loosen or tighten as required, and again only doing this quarter turn at a time, either anti-clockwise or clockwise, to loosen or tighten as needed. And that's it, that's the dome seated and in place. An important thing that you need to cover before your first flight over water is a water test on the front dome and the rear hatch. Because these are removable items, it's important that you do this test to ensure that no water can breach any of these areas. It's a very simple process and I'll just cover it for you quickly here, but it is covered in full in our user manual that we supply with your machine. So the first thing, you would have already fitted the dome and the rear hatch, and you would have already adjusted the clips as necessary so that they have a nice firm seating over the neoprene seal. Once you've done that and you've got it in place, ensuring that the batteries are not fitted in the machine and everything is powered off, fill a tub or container of water. Now this can be a tub, a bath, use a swimming pool, whatever you deem fit, but it needs to be big enough to allow you to dip the front and the rear of the machine into water. Now the aim of this is, what we want to do is we want to ensure that all of the clips are submerged in the water. What we don't want to do is submerge the whole machine under the water. We're just looking to submerge the front and the rear one at a time. So to do the front, ensure the dome is fitted and all of the clips are in the closed position. Ensure that the rear hatch is removed, and the reason we do that is so that we can look into the machine to see if the unlikely event of any water has breached the machine. So we have our container. We're simply going to take the machine, point it down like this, lower it into the water, again ensuring that each of the clips on the front are submerged. And whilst we're doing that, we can simply look through the machine and we'll very easily be able to see if any water is creeping in. Now, whilst it is unlikely, if that does happen, don't panic. It's a nice simple process to remedy. It's just a case of looking at the clip in the affected area and just using the provided Allen key, and again tighten quarter turn at a time, and that's all that should be needed. If you're having to do multiple clips, then again just apply a bit of the clear silicone grease to the neoprene seal and then retest. Once you've done the dome, then we're just going to repeat the process to the rear. So we'll fit the rear hatch in place and we'll remove the front dome. So again, ensuring that the rear hatch is seated correctly, and we're going to do the rear clips quarter turn closed. Make sure they've been adjusted and make sure you've already got your silicone grease applied to the neoprene seal. We're removing the front dome. We take the machine and we lower the back end of the machine just enough so that the retaining clips are submerged in the water, and then again peering into the machine we can see if any water is breaching any of the clip areas. Again, as I say, it's unlikely, but if it does, it's just a case of adjusting the rear clips to apply more pressure onto the neoprene seal, re-grease and just repeat the process. Okay, so now you've completed all of these tests, we're nearly ready for your first flight over water. There's a couple of things you still need to do. Now these are covered in our user manual, but I'll just give you a quick overview here. So one of the main things you need to do before you fly is calibrate the compass. Now this should be done the first time you fly this machine and whenever you go to a new location. This is covered in detail in both the NASA flight controller manual and also in our own user manual, and I'll just quickly show you how that's done now. Now the first thing is when you do this, it needs to be outside in a clear open space away from large metal objects. Likewise, don't have a phone or a big bunch of keys on you, anything that can interfere with the calibration process. Now there are two ways to calibrate the compass, either via the DJI Go app itself or via the flight mode switch that's found on the side of the controller. To enter calibration mode on the controller, you simply toggle the flight mode switch backwards and forwards about 6 or more times until the LED status changes on the flight controller. Once you've done that, you need to hold the machine straight like this, pointing away from you, and rotate your whole body anti-clockwise 360 degrees, like so. Once you've done that, you'll notice that the LED status changes, and also on the DJI Go app, the status will change. And it'll now tell you to point the whole aircraft nose down like so, and again return 360 degrees anti-clockwise. Once you've done that, the status will change on the DJI Go app and it'll tell you that the calibration is complete. You're now ready to fly in that location. Now, of course, this is also presuming that you've already downloaded and installed the DJI Go app. And that can be downloaded from the App Store or from Google Play, depending on what device you're using. I won't cover that in this video, but it is covered in our user manual, and you can also download the DJI manuals for the individual components, including the controller, the flight controller, and Lightbridge 2. So thank you for watching the HEXH2O Pro quick guide tutorial video. I hope you find it useful, and if there's anything we haven't covered or you want more information on, please do get in touch and we'll be more than happy to help.